Hope you're doing well. As per usual, I don't have anything interesting to say to start off on this opening. So, yeah, we'll keep it light and simple, but we'll have to wait for this to refresh and hopefully work on abstract because somebody out there made an absolute killing streaming on abstract. So, the narratives are starting to take place. Y'all, stop dead. What's going on, T-Doge? Okay, so we have to be like 100%, right? Because we're gonna keep it 100 here. Please try Cambria. Listen, if you've not been out in Web3 gaming much, all you need is an abstract wallet. Ignore everything around the fact that it like pops up and says you want to pay 0.02. Just try the free variation, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think that this is incredibly fun. We've had a very tough time in terms of people genuinely liking various crypto games, and I think this one is fascinating. It's super intriguing. Their story of originally launching on Blast and now on Ronin and Abstract. And the thesis before was about the future being multi-chain. And now if we have games that are across multiple chains, what ultimately does that mean? The apps matter. So again, give it a try. I'm having the time of my life playing it. Let me know what you think. Okay, safety. I'm going to have to move myself over here. Yo, woohoo. Important safety warning. A Hyperliquid representative just drained my wallet. Do you think this is going to be obvious that this is a scam? Or do you think this is going to be like a pretty well thought out social engineer here? I went to invest in a private round opportunity with Hyperliquid. Okay, so this person has 10,000 followers, bios, MAYC. They're a Pocket Universe ambassador, boring SEC DAO contributor. I'm going to make a guess off of reading their bio and say this is a bait to make you think that they fell for this. Because this doesn't make any sense as this person's entire bio is about security. So are we going to be right with the bait? So here's exactly what happened. When I joined the Zoom call, my wallet was completely drained. Let's explore exactly how this happened. The Hyperliquid representative, the Calendly meeting schedule, day of the meeting link. So it was malware, scam Zoom meeting, bada. Okay. The Hyperliquid representative. I was initially contacted by a representative through X direct messages. Their profile appeared legitimate. They had a blue check mark, a good number of mutual friends, 14.1K posts, and a LinkedIn profile. While the original message seemed somewhat suspicious, I thought, why not check it out since they were offering a free month? So, all right, let's look at the account. I mean, all right, the image. I don't really know what you're supposed to say. Like, all right, it's not an avatar. It's a person. Could it be real? We have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen anybody have a LinkedIn as their bio here on X for anything crypto. Investment analyst, Hyperliquid, investment operations associate at Binance Labs. So this already doesn't really make sense because that's saying that they work at Hyperliquid, but then also work at Binance Labs. So does they need to work two jobs? Does one of them not pay good enough? Hyperliquid or Binance? Seems like that's pretty big sort of deal. So again, we got question marks flying everywhere. We're not going to read the message, but keep going. Calendly meeting schedule. Dana wanted to schedule a meeting via Calendly. My first thought was this might be the common Calendly scam, where scammers send a fake Calendly link or require you to connect your ex, leading to a compromise. To my surprise, it was a legitimate Calendly scheduling flow with no suspicious elements, although weird meeting email right. I received a proper meeting notification and even booked it 2 weeks out to test whether it was a scam. So the organizer was called Sam Butcherovich, which is not the person's name at all. If this was real, I don't know. I'm confused as hell. Day of the meeting, 2 weeks later, on the day of the meeting, I checked the calendar invite to plan my day. I noticed something odd. While the invite mentioned Zoom, it didn't include the actual Zoom link. This sometimes happens, so I messaged Dana asking them for the meeting. So it was malware. Yes, it was malware. While loading the screen is displayed, users typically click launch. I mean, just scrolling here without email. I don't really want to go through the rest of it. It feels like everyone in this comment is following the scammer. Please report and block. This is confirmed night part of Hyperliquid team. Everyone in the comments is a scammer. Please report. Great educational thread. Okay. Got him. Must see. The scam attempt was poorly executed by the scammers, though their X profile appeared legitimate. There were several red flags. I don't know. I think this was just like I don't think they actually fell for that based off the fact that their whole bio was that. But I lost reading. They need to shorten the hell out of that. But anyway, all the signs were there. We always talk about like things being obvious within the space, and we try to highlight those things. And there was literally a red flag at every single point if you have basic knowledge about things. So if you didn't and you were like, oh, you know what? You're right. This is good. Hopefully that helped you out. Okay. Roscoe Callis, the guy from revoke.cash. Now, revoke.cash is a place where you're able to remove approvals. So on OpenSea, if you've listed an NFT, you've given it an approval. And so if somebody is able to take from your open approvals, well, this is a way for you to be able to remove that. And this is like a goods and service where everything is completely free. But he does tell a story about how he's been scammed twice. When you get drained, it is very common to feel shame. But the truth is that getting scammed can happen to anyone. And open communication is about the way to help others learn from the experience. The first time I got scammed was in my first week of crypto back in 2017, during the ICO boom. ICOs were selling out within minutes and pumping immediately after. So getting in early was the key. After missing several ICOs, a link posted on Reddit about a new ICO that just went live. In my haste, I jumped on it and sent money to the ICO address. Immediately after, I saw the URL looked fishy and saw that the post has been removed from Reddit, and I realized that they got me. The second time I got scammed was a few years later, where my greed again got the better of me. I stumbled upon a coin that looked like it was going to go up, so I threw some money on it, only to find out shortly after that it could not be sold. I had bought a honeypot. Now, this has happened to me as well, and it was, this is like the it's not like the greatest story ever in Web3. There's a lot of better ones, but it's one of those, wow. How crazy is this? So at a point, and this was like around New Year's, I don't remember if it was like 21 or 22, but I had minted a proof pass. It went up a tiny little bit, and I was like, you know what? There's no way this is going to go anywhere. And Proof Pass was this membership to art. It was a part of Kevin Rose before he got absolutely destroyed on socials and had a good reputation within Web3. And so these were selling for like a decent amount, not the craziness they went up to, because they minted for, I think, like 1 or 2 ETH, and they went all the way up to 100. But a little bit after that mint, I sold it to buy Year. And we had all of these free tokens and things that were going on. Gastow, we had an interview with the people from there. I don't know if that even exists anymore, to be totally honest with you. But I was like, I'm going to get into this. And then you realize, oh crap, it is a honeypot. You can't sell. And I was like, damn, I'm out whatever amount that it was at the time. And then Proof Pass went to 100 ETH. And yeah, that's tough. But now Proof Pass is at 0. Everything's horrible over there. And it's like, you know, it's all about time and things in a very particular way. And yo, Fluff Bear, what is going on? I don't know why that didn't come through. Oh, maybe it's because it's on X. It's supposed to show up like over there, down a little bit on the chat. But yo, Fluff Bear, I hope you're doing well. So anyway, if you guys are wanting to hear more from Roscoe, not necessarily about scams and whatnot, but we do go a whole lot in depth about how Revoke Cash works. It's the RWA Segments podcast. You can check out the link down below in the description if you're on YouTube, or in my bio on X. It was episode 38 that I had the conversation with him. Ladies from China, they're unveiling gold to cash ATMs that melt jewelry, verify purity, and transfer funds to your bank account, all in just 30 minutes. So what does money and value look like in 2025? With gold absolutely mooning, people are down to pay a premium, to the point of putting ATMs out there that do it. Crazy. So the Think Agent Mint is today. I ended up snagging 2 of them, one to keep and then one to maybe speculate a little bit on, but also I'm curious how the staking works, and it sounds like they were trying to have it where the earlier you stake, the more rewards you get. So we'll kind of see how that pans out. But I think you'd end up breaking even on the mint if it comes out at a decent valuation, which would also potentially put it higher than where Root is and monumentally higher than where Silo is. So obviously, you know where we've got our legions lied, but things are looking interesting as Asto has absolutely mooned off of the aspect that they are a part of this Think protocol. And Think put out a whole bunch of different insights, information, and partners, and one of them being with Meebits, showing that you can type something in and your 3D avatar will do something on your screen. Tito's, you got one as well? Nice. And so there's nothing that's that crazy about what they just showed, right? But when you go over here, they did post a little bit earlier some of their partners, which obviously is impressive from their AI infrastructure side, where all of these people are building on the Think protocol, which again, we got Silo down there. Hell yeah. And then you can see over here for the partners, the WWE, Warner Brothers, DC, they have BAYC and Coda and some of this other stuff, but it was from other page. It wasn't like a direct connection with them unless that's classified because other side has the rights to it. But I'm expecting some of those avatars to be used. But the big question around this is they keep saying that they're trying to fight open AI. And the question is, how big does that become? Is that something that every decentralized AI is trying to vie for? Are all these decentralized AI willing to work together? Which in this case, it looks like that's going to be the case. A lot to be seen along all of that. So excited to see what it looks like. And then here from Aaron McDonald, this is a clip from a while ago. Yo, Super Bowl, you minted one? Nice. This is something that made me... Yo, what's going on?
This feels like another he marked 300K users kind of thing to me.
Yo, hey Boomer, what's going on? So I've talked with a lot of people, and there's a huge amount of questions around this because it's like, okay, so Futureverse was building this ASM protocol. They have these grander visions, and now they're partnered with Think. They have a huge component of this, but it was 6079. So were these the guys that were going to be the winners? And so they had to like pivot to go over there. Is this where the open AI infrastructure ends up working out? I have no idea how to view it from that point, but it seems, assuming that the token gets a decent bid, is that you'd end up breaking even on the mint. Again, that's assuming that the token comes out at a strong pace. So the conversation around this does have data that's involved. And so this was a clip talking about the data and owning your own stuff.
The issue is that saving all of the information that goes into interactions with AIs in a way that gives your agent long-term memory about the things that you care about is extremely expensive to do. And that's why we don't have good long-term memory solutions built into these agent apps or platforms today, because it's cost prohibitive. Just the inference costs are kind of big, and OpenAI wasn't able to make money even on their top tier plan for inference costs, let alone the memory problems. And what community-run infrastructure like blockchains is really good for, and community-owned protocols like blockchains are really good for, is sharing that infrastructure cost amongst participants in the network so that it's economically viable to do things like store the state of a chain long-term for everyone's benefit, and that they can build these wonderful dApps on top of. And that's really what the Think protocol is about solving that problem for decentralized memory for agents.
Okay, so, right. There's a lot of this we're probably like, all right, we use ChatGPT, it's whatever, but understanding the data, the cost of things, that makes sense. So then looking at it for all of these protocols and whatnot, we've had the assumption, right? I think everybody here, we've tried speculating on certain coins, thinking, all right, these grand visions of whatever are here for people. And I agree with that to an extent. However, when we see the likes of what's going on with Prompt, Wayfinder, Parallel, you're probably familiar with one of those as kind of the old conglomerate, and they are having it where you have the AI agent that has a wallet, and you can say, hey, swap USDC to ETH on my base wallet. And if it's got the permissions or whatever, it'll go out and do that. And the thought that we've been seeing a little bit more is, well, what if everybody's got an agent? And what if there's an agent on top of an agent? And we saw on Story Protocol, was that? No. It was the Doodles. Do you remember when Doodles came out not too long ago, and they had this dreamscape? And when you looked into it, it had all of these ridiculous things where you had a multiple planet type of ecosystem, and you could build an agent that is a character, and then that agent would figure out for itself what world or area within this realm would be its best interest, and then it would start a community around there, and then people would follow it, and then you could have subsets of this, and it was this ridiculous thing that kind of sounds like super far-fetched, but if you're kind of going with it for a second, I'm like, okay, so where does all of these agents kind of live? And we have the Venice, we have, again, Wayfinders we're talking about, we have Think that's coming out, and all these talks about agents, and it's just like, all right, so is that actually what we're trying to look for? moving forward of what protocols are these agents going to use as a whole. Solving the problem of founders need a new token to pump and dump. I mean, it is crazy that we continually have more and more tokens when, again, you look at the top 100 tokens that are out there and you're like, none of this does anything. But J-Boy, with the thought, we need a narrative that spawns organically, something that everyone can see and relate to. Whether it's an event or a trend, it has to hit across the board. Maybe an animal meta emerges, but it has to be something strong enough to last more than just a day. Right now, a lot of people are sidelined just waiting for that spark. If BTC makes a run, then cools off, that's when I think we see it happen. So let's take a look at what's happened this past few weeks, right? And if you go back and check out the live streams, I mean, we were talking about Bitcoin when it was all the rage, and now it's dropped like a huge amount. And there was so many people when the narrative was hot around it that were interested in trying. But to basically get started in like any sort of meaningful way, you got to put hundreds and hundreds to like $1,000 in just to get a little bit more than the basic. And it turned off a whole bunch of people. And you had all these whales that got in early that were like, we're making $1 bajillion. And it looks good on paper, but then you don't have any new entrants. And that's the big problem with all of these applications. It's a problem with all of these games is how do you get these new players, especially when we are at a point when everybody is a complete maxi. So I've been talking about Cambria a lot. I completely ignored it earlier on. I didn't really care. I'm not doing anything with Blast. Okay, it's on Ronin. I don't even have a Ronin wallet, but now it's on Abstract. I came across him. I was like, all right, give it a little bit and I enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, this is actually really fun. But there's still other games that I would probably find fun that's not like in a network or an ecosystem that I'm paying attention to. So I'm probably just going to ignore it. And I think that's the case for the majority of people. Maybe I'm totally wrong with it. And so looking at Jay's post here, talking about how most things last for a day. Well, it's just because, well, I mean, all these things are a hype cycle. It's not that people are having fun. In certain games, I think that's the case. But generally speaking, a lot of this is just speculation still. And so once we get over that hump where it's a little bit more than speculation, sure, the speculation is good, but things that you want, need, desire, I think things change a lot, but finding those certain trends, I don't know. All right, you want to hear something crazy from Luke and Nets? Here we go.
In the next 5 years, the Igloo will be a multi-billion-dollar company. We will be the #1 NFT project. We would have beaten the Punk. We will have a coin in Pengu that's north of $10 billion. We would have launched Abstract to be a top 5 blockchain in the world. I will have turned Pudgy Penguins into a global IP, the likes of which of like a Hello Kitty. And I will have cemented myself on the Mount Rushmore of crypto. In the next 5
Okay, listen, I am all for founders talking their game. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of invigorating being like, all right, there's somebody that's got like a purpose within that. But do you think those sights are set so high, or do you think that the Pudgies can fly? Buffalo, what's going on? I'm hooked on freaking Cambria, but I hate getting PK'd constantly. Yeah, I mean, it's got a very nice loop in a way of kind of, you start out, you have to understand what kind of items and everything you need, and then you get killed, and then you're like, okay, so I need to do certain things where I can stack up gold, get armor, and the more you progress, the more dangerous you go, the more money you get, and then it doesn't feel as expensive. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited for it and how the iterations are. I hated the dungeon event though. That like totally wrecked the game. Brutal, absolutely brutal. All I heard is I, no we, or no team. Very fair point. So he said that Pudgy Penguins would be north of what, 10 billion? No, he said 1 billion. I don't remember. Pengu. So Pudgy's right now at 385 million. I want to say that he said 10 bill. Wow, look at that. Pudgy's up 20% a day. Was that because he said that the token's gonna move? See, and that's the other thing, is we don't have anything that can be said realistically that moves NFTs apart from token's gonna drop, right? So like Doodles, the speculation for that's when it ripped. For Azuki, Pudgy Penguins, I'm trying to remember. I feel like they had like a whole bunch of different like ups and downs throughout certain components of things, but we don't have, like the catchphrase in Web3 is, well, this news a few years ago would have sent the floor 3x, and it's like, yeah, but now there's too many options, there's too many things, there's too many questions. How does a token unlock? How does it do this, that, and the other thing? It's all crazy. When Moon, true, Smack Talk, what's up? I like the new setup, looks clean. Okay. So here's a fun tidbit for anybody that like streams. So I use a thing called Streamlabs. A lot of people use OBS, but Streamlabs is just like an app you can download on your computer. But I don't have any option for like a green screen on it because I don't have a green screen, obviously. So there's this application that you can download called NVIDIA Broadcast. If you have like a NVIDIA GPU or whatever it is, or graphics card, and it just takes away your background. Then you upload the thing and you're good to go. And I was like, damn, this looks so much better. So thanks, MacDoc. I appreciate that. I'm glad that we went to figure it out. But speaking of Pudgy Penguins, Ledger X Pudgy Penguins is coming soon. Cooler than ice and as secure as ever. Good little catchphrase. Our limited edition Pudgy Penguins X Ledger Flex Bundle in case will keep your funds secure so you can chill. Anybody remember V Friends and they had their ledgers? Anybody remember who else had stuff? I think Dead Fellas had a Ledger collab at one point. It's funny because we think of like crypto collectibles, and apart from a Ledger or toys, it's not that many things. Like, sure, there's merch and dice like shirts, but how many like physical objects are out there? But either way, cool to see that the collabs keep on coming. Zero with an interesting thought. Give me your feedback. Why don't NFT projects do what Ethereum name service does, the .eth? Forces you to renew it periodically so the team gets paid perpetually, or you forfeit the NFT and it goes back into the mint pool. Are you telling me no one has ever tried this? I actually love this take. I think it's super interesting because we had the problem that everybody was able to mint these NFTs and teams really wanted to do something, right? I mean, if you look at a lot of the top collections that are still around in any sort of fashion right now, their intent was, we're going to build out certain stuff. We're building IP. Sure, a lot of it is exactly the same thing, right? We're going to do toys. We're going to do a show. We're going to do a game. That's cool. But of course, when you look at different brands and different things, I mean, like Digimon, Pokemon, all these things are the same thing, but just like with that particular IP. So it's not that weird. But the problem that happened to all of them is that the money just basically completely stopped from royalties. Now, you make the argument, is that a business model that could have succeeded in the first place? And well, they tried. But with this, it's not a horrible take. Like if you enjoyed the previous year of utility or whatever it was, then you end up paying to renew it. Because I would argue for a lot of these NFTs, the benefit's more been like, hey, you're going to stake for a coin, you're going to get a token of some sort, and that's sort of it. So when is it a little bit more? Robbie Ferguson from Immutable. Tomorrow, we announce the outcome of a multi-billion-dollar partnership that's been in the works for 2+ years. I don't know. So this goes back to the conversation around like being a chain maxi. Like I used Immutable X for Gods Unchained. I used it when Guild of Guardians, yes, excuse me, between the two, first launched, and I was like, okay, this is cool. It's easy to use. I don't like the fact of like withdrawing takes 24 hours, but then there was not really any games that came out. Guild of Guardians made the pivot. I didn't really care about that. Gods Unchained, I kind of got stale of the game, but I didn't mind it at the time. And I was like, I haven't really gone back to look at anything Immutable. Boomer, you think IMX is dog shit? Well, I mean, they're in a different kind of dog shit. Like Gala, everything that Gala Games is doing is awful. And so you have all of these teams, all these blockchains that are doing things, and sure, you'll have your successes within one things, and I'm not like trying to rag on Gods Unchained because I genuinely did enjoy it at the time, but it was like, for all these things, it's like, are these games that are coming out actually matter? Is this all just a bunch of money that's getting pushed around in these different things? Who are the teams behind it? Some decisions are just flattering. Like the Orbs by BT. If you don't know what the Orbs by BT were, they were this collection of like 1,000 orbs that would like forever be going, but it had music of this like famous person, and they tried charging 11 ETH for it when ETH was like 3,000 to 4,000. They got completely shredded on it. The team went on live trying to be like, no, this is like totally worth it. And those things are basically zero now. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I think they're still holding some sort of a premium, but the history adds to it. And it's just like, a lot of these things are just completely out of touch. It makes no sense. And again, like I'm not trying to rip on these things. It's just there's confusion about all of it, right? It's like, are things good? How are people going to get on board? This sounds amazing. Would I ever play that game? We'll wait and see. But I think their last announcement, I watched some of the videos and was like, all right, this is like a multi-bajillion-dollar gaming giant. And I'm like, I don't know if I care a whole lot. All right, over on Segment. Yes, I do follow them, but of course, this thing acts like I don't. But the new Abstract Marketplace is live on Segment. Here's a quick update from it. So they got a fishing game that's upcoming. It is a marketplace. It is connected to a whole bunch of other ones. And we do the RWA Segments podcast with them. So again, segment.io if you guys are wanting to check out a different marketplace that is out there. Now moving along to NBA Top Shot, which some of you might still be in. Some of you may be like, what the hell is NBA Top Shot? And some of you might be like, I hate NBA Top Shot. So I saw this post, and not going into the specifics, but please no playoff or final sets. We have what, 45 million moments? 45 million. What? Is it actually that high? Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Creed. What are we doing? For 1,000 daily unique buyers. Talk about flooding the market. And why is it top heavy? That's not how collectibles work. The first edition shouldn't have more supply than the fifth. Scarcity should be linear. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's funny just seeing NBA Top Shot stuff on the timeline because it's like, that's what I loved at a point, and then I don't really follow it around. Yo, Glorp, what's going on? Tax, hello. Is this thing still on? Oh, yeah, it is. Hell yeah. That's one thing that I wish, like, Abstract, it doesn't show. So, like, this is the chat, right, for Abstract, but it doesn't show up on, like, my streaming thing here, and so you always forget that it sees. Okay, so the other day we talked about how Featureverse acquired some of the Candy Digital, which had a bunch of IPs, which I thought was okay. So there's something we do have to go over here. So if we go to Candy Digital, this is where I was confused a little bit because there was a bunch of IPs, right, that were associated with this. But then when you go and actually look at them, unless I was looking to the wrong marketplace, which we'll find out here in a second, like, this is what the WWE marketplace on Candy Digital is. It's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different collectibles, and they're like cards that are 3D. So 163 available of this. Heartbreak Kid 2022. There's like 6 things. And I was like, so they had the IP and they made 6 things for it? That seems sort of weird. So then going over for the Netflix aspect, which again, I'm super stoked about because I'm like, hell yeah, I watch Netflix all the time. And we knew that it was a Stranger Things collab because if you know from back then, they were doing these different drops, but it was similar. So like Lucas Sinclair, Hawkins High School basketball jersey. We have 11 and a bunch of the other characters here. And I mean, some of this stuff is selling for like 99 cents, but it's just like these digital collectible cards that have the IP. And again, it feels like they did those drops and then there wasn't really anything extra after it. So I was a little surprised about that. Curious how that ends up changing. But the big thing is that these were on Palm blockchain. And then all of a sudden, at some point, this ended up changing its name, its branding, all of it to Palm NFT Studio, a new medium for culture and creativity built efficiently with Ethereum. Palm NFT Studio is a contributor to the Palm Network. So everything Palm Network related kind of was like pushed to the side where it's like, this isn't a focus, but they had all these IPs and it's like, how do they end up getting that in the first place? And how do they get all these major brands and then not have extra stuff to go with it? I just thought that was kind of surprising. Yo, 0.001. Bangu. Holy smokes. We're putting that straight into Cambria. Hell yeah. Yo, Glorp. Thank you. Appreciate it. So a little bit on that. Breaking it. Streamer just got a 6.9 tip equivalent to 11,000 $710, marking the largest single tip on Abstract Stream. So that's super cool. We had the questions about how Abstract Stream adoption was going to end up happening. I mean, okay, maybe this is a one-off where it's like, hey, this is like a good viral story, because obviously we question everything here in Web3, but I think this is super, super cool. If you are on Abstract, you'll see that a ton of people are checking it out. And I don't know. I think it's just kind of a feel-good thing when we have so many people that are trying to do something in Web3 streaming. Like if you think of like the Marketplace, they were supposed to do streaming. That got shut down. Valhalla, they sold their entire mint off of, we're going to do Web3 streaming. Dog shit, garbage, didn't end up happening. Abstract says they're going to do it day one. It's out there and looking good. Hey, yo, Glorp coming through. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you again for the 0.001 ETH. So ultimately, this stuff's cool. Very excited to see kind of the evolution of all this, right? Because this is supposed to be disruptive in various terms. And also, it does kind of give an opportunity where one of the biggest problems, I think, in Web3 is where the hell do you go if you're trying to find info about stuff that's Web3? Sure, you can scroll X. You can try to look at different people's timeline. You can type in keywords. That's something I do all the time for something that I'm interested in. As an example, typing in like Cambria or Play Cambria, which is their tag on X. You watch different videos, you see, but you have to know what you're searching for most of the time. So this Abstract Stream, it opens up, it gives you more opportunities to kind of learn a little bit. And I think from that aspect, it's awesome. It's really, really good. Glorp spreads glee. True. Glorp, appreciate you coming through. Hope you're having a friggin' wonderful day. And everybody here, guys, that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Thank you for tuning in. Tito's, Fluff Bear, Super Bowl, Boomer with 100 bits as well. Thank you, good sir. I apologize for not thanking you when you did that. I'm an absolute, look at this. We got like 15 of us. That's absolutely unbelievable. Smack Talk. Again, appreciate you coming through as well. Glorp, thank you for the bits. And Tax, hell yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. We'll talk soon. Peace.